And so as a first question I'll answer from Katie was, what does the test look like? There are 23 multiple choice questions at 3 points each for 69. And then there are 5, I'll call them free response questions, but I don't want you to think that they're like lengthy free response questions. They're the questions where you look at the graph and get the function values from a graph. They're supposed to be easy, but people still don't know how to look at the right graph using the right x and y. It's very frustrating. Whatever. Those are 4 points each. So you better know how to do that, because that's 20 points worth of stuff. That only adds to 89, but that means you got a little 11-point buffer sort of at the bottom end curve, if you will. Right? So you could miss literally everything on the test, which would be tricky since there's 20 multiple choice questions, and still make an 11. So congratulations.
Wait, what's that?
Looking at it, getting function values from a graph. All right, so that's all I'll say. You know what that means. Third period, I'm going to do 147. Fourth period will be 258. I hope I don't mess this up later. And sixth period will be 369. All right, so we're doing 147. So you guys don't let me get off on the pattern here. In 2016, the cost to mail a package was $2.54 for up to 3 ounces, plus an additional 20 cents for each additional ounce or portion of an ounce less than a full ounce. They're trying to get that open circle and closed circle thing right. If you look at the graph, a portion of the graph of this relationship is given with cost as a function of ounces. Which of the following describes the restrictions on the range for such a function? That's a lot of words to say, what's the range? Range is the y values or the outputs. In this case, that would be the cost. So what are my basically possible answers for cost? The range is positive real numbers. Yes or no? No. That could be the domain, but that's not the range. The range is positive integers. No. Like that.
Because there's some that are decimal.
Yeah, there's one of them is $2.54. So no, that's not the range. The range is the values of the form 254 plus 0.2x. Okay, this is looking right. 254 plus 0.2 for each additional ounce. Where x is a non-negative real number versus a non-negative integer. They charge for the entire ounce once you bump up past an ounce or bump to the next ounce. Also, look at your there's gaps in there. You're not covering everything, so you can't plug in 1.5 or 2.5 or 3.5 or 4.5. They would charge you for the next ounce. So because of their charging setup, the range is, or x is going to be integers. The range is going to be 0.2 times an integer plus 254. Because they're charging you for the next ounce, the next full ounce.
Oh, they don't charge you for half an ounce.
They don't charge you for half an ounce. If you bring in something that weighs 4.5 ounces, well, sorry, you got to pay the 5 ounce price. So you never get to plug in 4.5. You would always be plugging in an integer.
Why are they charging the same from 1 ounce to 3?
Probably because it's small, so who cares? Like, the post office is pretty similar to that, right? Like the cost to mail a letter is whatever it is now, regardless of how much. Well, there's a limit. If you stuff it too full, then you start paying more. But if you mail an empty letter, or you mail a letter that's 3 pages front and back, it's the same cost. So I think this is somewhat realistic. All right, we're doing every third one, so that means we're skipping to number 4. The table gives characteristics of the rates of change of the function f on different intervals. Rate of change. That's sort of fancy talk for slope. Right? Because the algebra rate of change is the slope. Which of the following is true about f on the interval 3 to 4? So, I don't even need most of that other information. The rate of change, again, when I see rate of change of f, I'm thinking slope. So I need the slope of f from 3 to 4. So I'm not even looking at my answer choices yet. I'm just trying to make sense of this problem. I want my slope to be positive and decreasing. So my slope needs to be positive, so going up, but I need it to be getting less and less. So there's positive, but I want to be positive less and less. So positive initially really positive, but then positive less positive. So something like that. So that's positive, but getting less positive. Okay, now let's look at a picture that matches that. F is increasing, definitely. That's true. F is not decreasing. I'm going to throw out C and D. Concave up or concave down? Well, concave down, but we've done the hard part of the problem. If you made it that far, you'll get it right. So, rate of change means slope, and then you have to be real careful about positive versus negative, and then increasing versus decreasing. All right, 3 away would be number 7. Jordan's cell phone plan includes 5 gigabytes of data per month, has a monthly cost of $79.95. Oh, I'm peeking ahead. This is a piecewise function. If Jordan uses more than 5 gigabytes of data within the month, there is a charge of $10 per additional gigabyte of data used. Function C is used to model Jordan's monthly cell phone bill, where D is the number of gigabytes used and C is the cost. So this is not too unlike that first problem with how much you pay for mailing something. Like it's a flat fee for the first 5 gigabytes, and then it starts going up. So let's look and see. I need a flat fee for the first 5 gigabytes. Okay. I think I can throw one of them out based on that. D. Yeah. That poor guy's going to be paying a lot of money when he should only be paying $79.95. So, okay. So the other 3 match that. Flat fee for the first 5. Okay. After that, $10 per gigabyte, but $10 per additional gigabyte. So additional to the 5, right? So if he uses 6 gigabytes, he's not paying the extra on all 6. He's paying the extra on 1. So I need a D minus 5 somewhere. So I think it's A. Let's see if that makes sense. So the $79.95 is still there. He's got to pay that for the first 5 he used, and then D minus 5 times 10 for the additional. If there is additional. If there's not additional, that means he's on the first part of the curve anyway, and it's $80 for his plan. So I'm pretty sure it's A. C, he's paying way too much money, because if he hits 5, then he's got to pay $50 plus the 80. So that's not good. He doesn't want to do that. C, he's really hosed if he hits 5, because he's got to pay $80 for each gigabyte. So that additional is what's important there. That's what led to that D minus 5. Okay, 3 away from 7 is 10. Look at me doing math. Number 10. The table gives the average rate of change we know that means slope of a function of f over different intervals. On which of the intervals does the function increase the most? 0 to 1, 1 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 10. Increase the most. Well, the intervals are different widths, so we better be careful here. So the average rate of change is 10 over a width of 1. So how much change, we need to add an extra row to this column here. So if our average rate is 10 over a width of 1, how much did the function change by? 10. If our average rate of change is negative 5 over a width of 3, we changed by negative 15. We went down negative 15.
For every one is 5.
Yeah, because every 1 is 5 on the average. From 1 to 4, this is 3 wide. And we're going down 5 each time because this is a slope thing. So
Why is it not like a fraction? Why is it 5 times?
well, the slope is equal to, so change in y over change in x is equal to 5. Here we go, maybe this is better. The change in x is 3. So the change in y is negative 15. Maybe that's a better way to show it. Does that make more sense? It also said increase, so that's going to be out. There won't be 1 to 4. From 4 to 8, the change in y per change in x is 2. The change in x is 4. So the change in y is 8. And on that last interval, the average slope is 6, but the change in x is 2, so the change in y is 12. And there's our biggest increase. So if it had just said change the most, I guess it would have been that second interval, but increase the most, it would have to be 8 to 10. Weird questions, but that's what you get when you take an AP or a pre-AP class, right? So is there going to be one like that on the test? Probably not. Is there going to be something weird like that on the test? Probably so. Dia?
So it's going to be like these AP style questions that are multiple choice?
Well, almost all of them are multiple choice, so there's some that are easy and straightforward, and then there's some that are kind of weird like this. All right, 3 more than 10 is 13. I'm more worried about getting off on my multiples of 3 than getting the problems wrong. And the entire test is no calculator. Yeah. 13. The function f is given by this thing. The function g is the result of a transformation of f given by x squared over 4 and plus 2. Oh, we should be okay on this one. Which of the following describes the transformation of graph f basically into g? So what did we do to f to get to g? We only did one thing, right? Like the plus 2 was already there. Surprised they're not trying to trick us into saying up 2. Plus 2 is already there. We tacked on a 1/4. And we tacked it on out front. So 1/4 in the y direction is going to be a vertical dilation by a factor of a 1/4. So I think A is right. Let's think through the others. Horizontal dilation by a factor of a 1/2. Now that would be if we actually...
How do you know if it's horizontal or vertical?
So I think this one has 2 answers.
Oh my gosh, this is like the thing.
Well,
If it's an x, then it's like...
no, it's not.
There's no half in there.
Well, if you squared the 1/2. But if you squared the 1/2, you'd get the 4th, and no, that would be a horizontal dilation of a 1/2, because you put a 1/2 in there. Except, it wouldn't be, it'd be a dilation of 2, because if you put a 1/2 in there, instead of stretching it out, vertical is this way, so that's 1/4. Horizontal of 1/2 would stretch it by 2. So I think the answer is A or C.
You said it was C.
I think it's A or C. Because if you... Wait, no, it is C. It is C. Do you know why? I know why now.
I don't know.
I messed it up.
I don't know why.
Because for it to be A, you would need to multiply the whole thing by 1/4.
Oh.
But we didn't multiply the whole thing by 1/4. We only multiplied the x by 1/4. That's the horizontal.
If you only multiply.
If you
Like it
multiply
would-
just the x, it'd be
X,
still
it would be
1/4 x squared and up to.
Right, but I did not multiply the whole graph by 1/4.
Because horizontal is in parentheses.
Horizontal is the stuff in parentheses.
So redistribute.
So the only thing we changed was this inside stuff.
But you can have a function that says 1/4 x squared plus 2, and the 2 is not in the parentheses though.
Correct, but that would not be a
Just how do you
vertical
do that?
dilation by 1/4.
You just simplify it. It wouldn't be.
All right, number 16, because 13 plus 3 is 16. Number 16. All right, shh. Back on track, I think. Yeah. The function f has a negative average rate of change. What's average rate of change mean? Slope. So you're just testing that you know what that means. On every interval of x in the interval 0 to 10. On every interval of x. So that must mean that it's like always increasing. Or decreasing, excuse me, because negative. Does that make sense? There's no way to pick an interval where it's positive. So it must always be decreasing. There's no way to grab an interval where it's increasing. So always decreasing on 0 to 10. The function g, whoops, let's be careful. So f is always decreasing 0 to 10. The function g has a negative rate of change on every interval of x in the interval 0 to 5. So always decreasing again from 0 to 5. And a positive average rate of change on every interval. Every interval, that's weird, but that just means you can't pick an interval where it's negative. So it's always increasing from 5 to 10. Which of the following statements must be true about the function on the interval 0 to 10? Okay, I need to organize my information here. So f from 0 to 10 is always decreasing. I'm going to leave out the always because the always applies to everything now. So 0 to 5, 5 to 10, always decreasing. G, negative rate of change 0 to 5. So that means G is decreasing 0 to 5. Positive average rate of change, so positive slope 5 to 10. Okay, now I got a handle on this thing. H is f plus g. Okay, H is decreasing 0 to 10. I don't think I can say that because 5 to 10, different things are happening. H is decreasing on 0 to 5. Yes, I'm good with that. H is decreasing 0 to 5. Of course, that's what the last three say, so how helpful is that? H is increasing on 5 to 10. It depends on how decreasing and how increasing is it. Is it slightly decreasing or super decreasing? So I don't think I know what's happening on 5 to 10.
I pledge allegiance to
Downward by 3. So I take F and subtract 3 and land at part A.